He led the league in assists, interviewed the president, he dresses like Zoolander, has one of the funniest looking jumpers in the league, and he has 2 different voices.
30 out of 30 teams are active right now. Yeah, especially right now because free agency starts, July 1st?
In just 4.5 seasons, Tyrese Haliburton has already had one of the most interesting NBA careers you've ever heard of. Let's take a closer look at what Hali's done in the league so far. After a solid sophomore year at Iowa State, the wiry 6'5", 185-pound Tyrese was drafted 12th overall by the Kings and was instantly every Sacramento fan's favorite young player. He had always had an unconventional jumper, and yet had an awesome rookie season and started off his second year strong. Unfortunately for the Kings, their new young stud had an overlapping skill set with their old young stud, De'Aaron Fox. Even with the redundancy of point guard skills, NBA fans everywhere were blown away by a Woj bomb, saying Hali was headed to Indy and Domantas Sabonis was becoming a king. Hali was just as shocked by the trade as the fans, and he says it took him a while to get over it, but Indy welcomed him with wide open arms. He had a decent first half season with the Pacers, and in his first full season, he made his first All-Star game. But the beginning of the 23-24 season is when Ty just went nuclear. To start off the season, he averaged 26 points and 12 assists with just 2 turnovers per game. Ridiculous numbers. He was becoming unstoppable with his mix of being able to score at all 3 levels, but also always finding the open man, usually without even having to look at him. In November 2023, he made NBA history by recording the most assists without a turnover in a 2-game span by having 32 assists and 0 turnovers. This is also the season when he ended up leading the NBA in assists. Unfortunately, in January, one of his feet hit a slick spot during a game against the Celtics, and he did the splits and strained his left hamstring. Despite missing 13 games and not playing quite as great for the rest of the regular season, Hali still made All-NBA after his return in early 2024. Thankfully, he did mostly return to himself for the playoffs. He had a good series on not great efficiency against the Bucks, which included a sweet game winner in Game 3. He topped that series with his showing against the Knicks in the East Semis, leading the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately, this is where he would re-injure his hamstring, and the Pacers would be swept by the Celtics. In the offseason, Hali was invited to join the Olympic team, but unfortunately for him, this team wasn't about young up-and-comers. It was about LeBron, KD, and Steph showing everyone the basketball world was still theirs, at least for the time being. Tyrese got to sit on the sidelines and cheer his little heart out as Steph Curry crushed the croissant of every Frenchman in Paris at the gold medal game. Ty collected one of the coolest participation trophies in history and headed back to the States. I don't know if the Monstars stole Tyrese's talent between the Olympics and the start of the regular season, but he started off looking just awful. It was like he completely forgot how to shoot from distance, which seemed to affect every other part of his game. The real answer is probably a combo of the lingering hamstring injury and some back spasms, but with him struggling, the Pacers were at just 10-15 after 25 games, and if it weren't for the ridiculous consistency of Pascal Siakam, they might have already been completely out of playoff contention. Thankfully, his shot has improved after the last few months, and for the year, he's brought his averages up to 18 points and 8.5 assists on 45% from the field and 37% from 3. Ty did miss the All-Star game this year, but if he somehow finds a way to take back that last bit of talent from the Monstars, we could be talking about him as a top 10 player in the league in a couple seasons, and the Pacers could become a real threat in the Eastern Conference. Thanks for watching Speak Hoops. Subscribe for more player profiles. Let's talk soon.